Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. If you're looking for jewelry that makes an impact on your self-care routine and your style, Empowerography would love to offer you a discount code to one of our exclusive partners, Quartz & Canary Jewelry and Wellness Company. Please use code EMPOWER15 to receive 15% off upon checkout at www.quartzandcanary.com. Quartz & Canary is truly the place where spirituality meets style. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Jennie Lee. She is an award-winning author and yoga therapist based in Hawaii. How you doing, Jennie?
I'm doing great, Brad. So good to be with you today.
Thank you for agreeing to be part of this community and movement that I'm creating here, and for agreeing to be part of the podcast. It's great to have you here.
I'm really excited about what you're trying to create and honored to be a part of it. So looking forward to our conversation.
Well, thank you. How's your day going so far?
Well, it's starting good because I'm talking to you. It's early here in Hawaii,
Well,
so I've just had my coffee.
What time is it there in Hawaii right now?
7 a.m.
Oh, my. Oh, so we're 6 hours ahead of you. Okay. All right. So let's jump right in, Jennie. You are a certified yoga therapist. You teach classical yoga and meditation. You're a coach. And of course, last but not least, an award-winning author of 3 books. Where do you find the time to fit all this into your life?
Well, one moment at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we do lots of things with our lives, but we can only do one thing at a time. So it's whatever is happening in the moment. And right now I'm a podcast guest. So
there we go. Yeah, that's it. Live moment to moment and away you go, right?
Yep.
So what is a certified yoga therapist? I've never heard that term used before. Can you explain to me what that is, or explain to the audience what that is?
Absolutely. A lot of people have not heard of it. It's a specialization within the field of teaching yoga. It requires a lot more hours of training, and it's really focused on, bringing the therapeutic benefits of yoga to usually individuals. So I do a lot of individual coaching, and I'm sourcing the practices and the tools that I'm offering people to find, physical strength or mental balance or emotional stability from the classical teachings of yoga. So, texts such as the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras or the Bhagavad Gita. And so this is really a lifestyle practice. It's not just postures.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how long have you worked in the field of health and wellness, yoga, meditation, spirituality, all of that amazing stuff? How long have you been working in this industry?
Well, I'm dating myself now. It's been almost, it's been over 2 decades, which feels very, long to say, but yeah, life goes along and the years pass. So it's been a long time. I'm grateful to have had such a consistent career in something that I feel really passionate about.
And what prompted or inspired you to first get into this field of work as a career?
Well, I had started practicing physical yoga over 20 odd years ago now. And I found so much benefit in just the physical practice. It really made me feel strong in a way that I never had before. And then as life threw me some curveballs and some really challenging times in my relationship and pregnancies, I was really starting to do that soul searching of, where are the deeper answers to all the crap that comes along in life, and, how do I find peace? And so it really got me looking to the teachings, the philosophical teachings of yoga, which is over 5,000 years old. And really has a very spiritual foundation. And that was what got me ultimately into my studies of yoga philosophy, and then eventually onto the career path of teaching and coaching and offering these tools to others.
Interesting. Okay. So how long have you been a coach?
So, the word coach has lots of meanings these days. The yoga therapy work that I do is coaching from the standpoint that it it brings to my clients a set of tools that they can use. I'm really about empowering the person to learn the things that they can do to bring themselves into greater harmony and happiness and balance in their lives. So
you're just giving them the tools to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So for some people that's more physical practices. For other people, it's more inner, like meditation and breath work and mind practices.
Okay. So what would you say then is one of the most exciting parts of your job, or one of your favorite parts of your job as a coach and a teacher?
I love when I see someone have that inner moment of kind of an aha, or putting something new together in their mind. Like, you know, we all get really repetitive in our patterns of thinking. And oftentimes people struggle with negative thoughts and self-doubt. And, you know, so to break someone out of that by offering them a practice or a question or just some other way of looking at their circumstances, and then seeing it register in a way where I know a change has occurred, and I know they're not ever going to quite be the same after that moment. That's amazing to me. That's really why I do what I do. As
a result of what you've taught them or shown them. Yeah. And that's got to be, I think, one of the most incredible feelings in the world, when you can do something or give guidance to somebody or show somebody something within them that's been there, but they just didn't realize it. And to bring it out of them is just incredible.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. And I often tell people, you know, it's not that I'm sitting over here with the answers are within you, but I'm just here to guide you to your own inner answers.
Right. And, give you the tools that you need to find the answers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's an amazing, absolutely amazing feeling. It's like this with the podcast, being able to provide this platform for women like yourself to share your stories. This, to me, is incredible that I'm able to do this and give back and help women share their stories, and with the hopes that we all collectively help all the incredible, amazing women out there. And it's the same thing with the photography for me too, the boudoir photography, being able to give back like that and show a woman herself in a light that she doesn't normally get to see herself in. That is the most incredible feeling.
Well, I really get that, Brad. And, you know, we each have our gifts. We each have our ways of helping. And I'm big on encouraging people to look at what those unique gifts are for themselves. And I believe that what you're doing, what I'm trying to do, although we're doing it in very different modalities, it's still with the same intent of lifting other people up and inspiring them to know and feel and embody their highest and best self and to believe in themselves. And so, yeah, I'm right there with you.
It truly is. It is, at least for me anyways, and I'm sure you'd agree, it is the absolute most incredible feeling in the world to be able to do that and to see the joy you bring someone by doing something to help them. It's just, you can't even really put it into words to fully describe it.
Right. And you're a lot of your photography work, it sounds like it's really about helping women to become comfortable and feeling beautiful in their bodies. And my work is more on the spiritual side of things, where I'm trying to remind people that they and have a remembrance, like an inner remembrance, not just an intellectual concept of themselves as a spiritual being, as a soul, as a child of God, as, you know, like a being of light. And that when we can remind someone of that inner nature as well as their outer beauty, and uniqueness, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I've just recently come to the realization with this analogy for the photography aspect of it anyways. I get clients who come in and they are, of course, feeling vulnerable. They're nervous, they're shy. I mean, this is a big step forward for people to take. So, but to watch the transformation, honestly, Jenny, it's like watching a caterpillar turn into a butterfly through the whole experience of the shoot, of the hour and a half shoot. It's just, by the end of it, they're just completely, not all, but most of them are completely comfortable. And we come to a point where, okay, shoot's done. We've got enough images. We're good. That's it. We'll call it a day. And so many women have said to me, "Oh, really? We're done? I was just getting into this." And it's like, but the transformation is just incredible. It's one of the most amazing things to watch.
Yeah. Transformation is awesome.
It is. Anyway, enough about me. We're here to talk about you. So let's talk about your world as an author and becoming an author. How did you get into this whole world of becoming an author, and why? What inspired you to write your first book?
Well, yoga is really what led me back to my writing. I had been a journalism major in college. Writing has always been a part of my life. I've been a journaler, and, I find a lot of personal growth through my writing. But when I was started teaching yoga in my studio in Massachusetts, I noticed that as I was studying more of the philosophy, I was having difficulty kind of weaving it into my classes. And so I started looking for a book that would be simple enough to explain some of the concepts to people throughout the course of a regular, hour-long physical yoga class. And I really had a hard time finding that book. And so the seed was planted in my mind that I wanted to write something. Now that took 7.5 years from figuring out what I wanted to write, writing the proposal, getting an agent, getting a publisher, et cetera, and having my first book, which is called True Yoga, come to market. But it has been embraced by the yoga community, certainly by yoga teacher training programs, because I accomplished my goal of providing a manual, which is an explanation of the 8-limb path, which is kind of a core tenet of yoga.
Okay.
And the 8-limb path being not just the postures, but also breath work and energy management and all of the qualities that we're meant to embody in order to find peace and harmony in our inner lives and as well as in our outer lives. And so, a real simple guide to this that can take the kind of more esoteric philosophy of yoga and bring it into an average person's scope of understanding.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how I got started. And then it's just been a process of evolution from there and continuing to write about subjects, meditation and devotion and introspection and practices that I feel are really important for our inner spiritual growth.
Right. Now you've written 3 books. What was your second book called? And can you give us a brief overview of that one too?
Sure. So the second one was called Breathing Love. And this was a book that was really dedicated to the practice of devotion and how we experience the divine within, and that's, pretty unique and personal to each one. Again, it's not for me to apply a definition or an answer for someone, but I'm here hopefully to point the way for someone to have a greater, deeper experience of that divinity within. So that had a lot of short practices in it, meditational type practices, but also ones that had to do with walking in the world in a devotional state of mind,
Okay.
recognizing and seeing other people as also beings of light and, how to connect with them from that standpoint. And then my latest book is called Spark Change, 108 Provocative Questions for Spiritual Evolution. And this book is really about the practice of introspection or self-reflection, where we go and ask ourselves questions and in order to understand ourselves better, because, change is hard for everybody, but when we understand ourselves better, it becomes a lot easier. And so I think people are all wanting a sense of clarity within. And that's what I hope this book is offering some tools around.
So where did the idea and inspiration come from for writing this book, and why a book of questions? What prompted that idea?
It really came from my coaching practice, the yoga therapy practice, because as we were talking about earlier, when I'm sitting in coaching mode, I'm asking questions. I'm asking a lot of questions, and I'm always refining those questions to help someone have a deeper understanding of themselves and also to help me understand them better so that I can know what tools to offer, what practices to offer that would be helpful to them. So that practice of question asking has been something that I've developed over the last 20 years and felt strongly about offering to people in a book format, so that, if they couldn't step into coaching with me or somebody else, they would have at their ready a nice, cute little 5x7 hardback book to have on their table and dip into and grab a question to think about and get some greater self-awareness. Once again, providing them the tools and they do the work. Yeah. Excellent. When did the book come out? It's just recently out, right? Yeah, September 8, 2020. Awesome. Well, congratulations. Thank you. Yeah, excited to have it out there. It's like birthing a baby in a way. I'm sure it is. It is. That's amazing. How has the reception been? I mean, I know it's quite new, but how has the reception been so far? Have you heard anything? Any feedback? It's actually been really good. I think everyone is so primed for needing change and needing some sort of help in how do we move forward in a positive way during these really challenging times. And everyone's experiencing those challenges in different ways, as we were talking about. Yes. But I think everyone is seeking some clarity as to how we move forward from here in a positive way and in a more unified way. So yeah, the reception's been great. Lots of good reviews already. And my agent, who is very short on praise, said you had a good launch. So excellent. I'll take that as a high compliment. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you're right. This is needed. I think this is the perfect time. This is needed more now than ever with everything that the world is going through, and to start the healing process for the world, because so much has happened in 2020, the world over. I mean, everybody's dealing with the pandemic and everyone deals with it in a different way and has different circumstances which affect how they deal with it. So I think it's needed now more than ever. So I think the timing is absolutely perfect. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So when did you become more aware and ready for a deeper understanding of life, or when did you have your awakening, so to speak, and what prompted that awakening? Was there anything in particular that, like a light bulb moment for you? I would say it was more of a slow burn for me. And, not that I'm an enlightened being yet, but I'm certainly more awake than I was 20 years ago. Right. But when I graduated from college, I had sort of left the religion that I had been raised in, but I was really seeking some kind of deeper understanding of the universe and God and my place in things and, what the true nature of reality was. And I've been a questioner and a seeker pretty much my whole life, and studied philosophy, studied various religions, read a ton, and tried on a few for size in my own personal life. Don't need to name names of what I've left behind, but all of it was valuable, all of it. And I think that there is truth in all major religions and all major philosophies. And I think truth, actually, the more you study all of those things, becomes extremely simple and extremely graspable by all of us in our own hearts and lives. And so I think there's a lot of ways to get to New York, but or Canada or wherever, but take which path you want, but definitely take the journey and ask the questions and start to look at what is bigger and broader than what we're seeing on the nightly news. Oh, for sure. I stopped watching the news a long time ago. I can't be bothered to get drawn in, and it's just a black hole of bad news all the time, and I just have no time for that. Yeah, really, truly. There is a lot of goodness and light in human hearts, and that's what we need to be focusing on. That's right. And we don't hear enough about the good side of things and the good things that are going on in the world. So when we have things like what you're doing, helping people, and what I'm trying to do by helping people, and that's what needs to be talked about, and that's what needs to be spread around more. Yes, for sure. We need to be lifting each other up and lifting each other towards the light. That's right. So back to writing for a minute. You are also a regular contributor to many national magazines. How did that all come about? And when you're sitting down to write articles for magazines as opposed to authoring a book, obviously that's a huge difference. But is the creative space or creative zone you get into, is it differ from one to the other for you? Yeah, it does. I mean, articles are relatively short and topical, so they come just from feeling inspired to write a little bit on something, perceiving, I'm usually trying to stay connected to the needs of the people that follow me on social media, or things that I'm seeing commented about, or, kind of trending needs. I'll try to address those from my frame of reference in an article. And, very different from a book. Books take years to write and produce. And so that's a space in which I'm not doing any other writing. I don't write articles at the same time I'm working on a book. I don't read other books when I'm working on a book. Okay. I try to keep my mental space very focused on the big project of the book that I'm trying to bring forward, because it takes a lot of organization and discipline to sit at the computer day after day after day and work on something that, becomes a book. So,
yeah. How long did this latest book take you to write?
This book I always look at sort of the timeline from idea, proposal to release. And that's about a 2.5 year cycle for this one. But in terms of actual writing, a good portion of the writing is done by the time I take it to proposal, because proposals are quite thorough. They're quite lengthy. They're kind of a book in and of themselves. So because publishers want to know that you know what you're going to write, and I understand that. They don't want to just have some idea. Everybody's got ideas for books. Yeah. That's not enough. And that's not a proposal. So, it's pretty fleshed out at the proposal point, but then I'd say 6 to 8 months after that to actually create a first draft. And then there are second and third drafts often.
So for 6 to 8 months, you don't read any other books?
No.
Wow. That's crazy. But I guess you have to, is that yes, it's for focus point, but is that also for...
I don't want to hear anybody else's voice in my head. I don't want my words to reflect anyone else's
Yes, that's
voice.
What I was trying to get at. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. That makes complete and utter sense. 100%. So to date, Jennie, what would you say is your biggest high or your greatest win?
So I think getting the contract with Sounds True for this latest book, Spark Change, that was really a highlight of my life, because Sounds True has been around. They're an American publisher. They've been around since the 80s. They have published many, many wonderful teachers and writers in the self-help and spirituality field, many of whom have been influences in my life, people I have really looked up to and admired their writing. And they're a company that I've just followed their authors for so many years. So to step into the ranks and to be able to say, I'm a Sounds True author is a huge, just like, I think I cried. I did cry when I got that contract.
Well, to be among the company that you've admired, like when I say company, I mean authors that you've admired for so long, that's got to be amazing.
It is, yeah.
What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that has helped you become successful?
I think it's my desire to deeply understand people. I think that's what's made me a good coach. It's what's made me an empathetic partner. So it's made me a resilient mom. I think it's what made me a good friend, because I really do deeply try to understand people, whoever that person is that's in front of me. Yeah. I'd have to say that.
Okay. Are there any specific tools or books that have helped you on your specific journey?
Well, we were just talking about, so many authors in the Sounds True catalog have inspired me. But, at the top of my list, 100%, is the book Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. It is a spiritual classic. It's been, named by people like Steve Jobs. And, there's just so much richness of spiritual wisdom in that book. And I've read it 5 times. I'm now listening to it on audio on my morning walks, because I'm not currently writing a book. So I get to read and listen to books right now, which is great. And I always find something new of inspiration. He has been my greatest spiritual teacher is my greatest spiritual teacher. And I highly recommend that book. If I had to take one book to a desert island to live with the rest of my life and only one book, it would be that book.
That's awesome. What was a turning point in your life and how did it affect you?
Oh gosh. That's a hard one. There have been many, but one of the greatest ones was when I lost my second child. I lost her at birth, and
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I was in deep depression, and I was talking with her in my mind, telepathically, in my heart.
Yeah.
And I heard her say very clearly at a certain point, it was many months into the grieving process, but there was a time, and I was sitting in her darkened, or the room that we had set up for her. It was dark, and I heard her say, "It's time to get up now, Mom. You need to rebuild yourself as a spiritual warrior."
Wow.
And I will never forget. I mean, it still gives me chills when I don't tell that story very often, but it was, I mean, that was a light bulb moment because it was
doubt.
Visceral. And it really put me on my path to teaching yoga, ultimately becoming a yoga therapist, starting to write the books that I write. And it was like this wake up, like, you cannot sit here in the dark anymore. Like, this is done and you need to move forward and you need to step into the light.
That's amazing. That is, wow. Yeah, that would be defined as a turning point for sure.
Yeah.
Amazing. Absolutely incredible. What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
I'd say in the moments in meditation where I can get out of my mind, which is everybody's challenge, right? The restless mind. But when I can drop out of that mental sphere and drop down into my heart. And sorry, I'm just feeling a little emotional because it really
that's okay. Thank you very much for sharing that very private, heartfelt moment. I didn't mean to bring up these emotions for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. It's okay. No, actually the emotion is regarding this question, which is dropping into my heart space and feeling the love, the amazing power of the energy of love, which I know we're all a part of. And when I can feel that, that's what inspires me to keep going in this crazy freaking world that we live in, and to just walk back out into the fray every day and try to remind people that we're all connected and that we're all love beings at our soul level, and to please remember that and to please wake up.
Wow. I can honestly say I've never had anyone react like this to one of my questions. This is unbelievable. I mean, I'm not happy that I know you're emotional. I'm not happy that they caused you to be emotional, but that's pretty incredible that these questions are bringing this stuff and causing the thought-provoking frame of mind and bringing up emotion. And I think it's amazing.
Well, and part of that, Brad, is that I'm open to that. I feel like we have to open our hearts. Some people are so afraid to feel.
Yeah.
They're afraid to feel emotion. And the reason I can feel, and this is joyful emotion, actually.
Yeah.
But the reason I can feel this depth of joyful emotion and love is because I've allowed myself also to feel the deep states of pain and sorrow and depression. And so I know both sides of the coin of being human. And we have to be willing to go in both directions deeply if we want to feel alive. And I feel more alive now than I ever have. And I credit a lot of it to just, being willing to do the inner work, which is what I feel so strongly about helping other people to do.
Well, I think a lot of that reluctance to do the work comes from fear of what they'll find and what they'll see and not knowing how to deal with it. And it's scary sometimes to look inside and not like what you see or feel.
It is for sure. But you know what I'd say to that person who's afraid is just call me.
Mm-hmm.
Get a coach, get a good helper, find somebody that you trust. They'll stand by you. We're not alone. No one's alone.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Everybody's dealing with their own demons and going through their own stuff. And that's why it's always good to be compassionate and care about your fellow human. You don't know what someone else is going through. You don't know the struggles they've been through. You don't know the road they've walked. And I mean, I was just speaking with someone yesterday. We were talking about this kind of thing where a smile is something so simple to give to somebody, and it could completely change a person's day. Completely.
Totally.
With a smile, something so simple.
Yeah.
It's
easy. It makes you feel better at the same time that you're offering it to somebody else. It's so simple.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But people, I don't know. I don't understand why people aren't more like that. And again, everyone goes through their own shit and their own struggles. So you just got to try. That's all.
Yep. Got to keep trying.
What would you say is something that people seem to misunderstand about you?
Oh, Brad, your questions, I'm the questions lady, but your questions are good.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. That's again, as you said with your publisher, that's very high praise to me. Thank you.
I have felt misunderstood for the majority of my life. I think it really started with my mom. I don't think that she really understood me. It was something I struggled with all throughout my growing up years. I've been judged and criticized and misaligned by even the dearest of friends at times. And so misunderstanding has been a big thing. And maybe that's why I said my superpower is the ability or the desire to understand, because I really recognized how essential that is in order to get along with people. That seeking to understand. But what I'll say about this question is that my life really changed when I stopped seeking to be understood.
Okay.
And I just, when you live your life always looking for that external validation for somebody else to understand you and praise you and validate you and tell you that you're okay or that you're worthy in some way, it's a never ending journey. And you're always going to find people who misunderstand you.
Yes.
So I remember, here's another turning point moment. Like I remember where I was standing when I had this aha, and I just went, I'm not going to seek understanding anymore. Yeah. I'm going to seek to understand. So and my life changed for sure. Like, not that it doesn't hurt. It does hurt sometimes when a friend misunderstands me. I just had a circumstance actually yesterday that I spent the whole day processing because I felt I was misunderstood by a friend. But, it's not worth spending.
No, I mean, you'll never please everybody all the time. It's absolutely impossible. So first and foremost, and again, I was speaking about this kind of thing yesterday with someone else I was interviewing, and you have to start with yourself. You have to love yourself, accept yourself. That's where it all starts. The journey begins with yourself and then outwards and giving and sharing with other people.
Yeah, for sure. So seek to understand yourself, seek to understand others, and don't look for the
validation
from the outside. Yeah.
from other people. What would you say is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
I was walking in Home Depot and I saw this woman with beautiful skin. She was must have been in her 80s. And I asked her what her secret was to beautiful skin. And she said, olive oil. So she just slathered olive oil all over her face.
Oh, okay.
So that was a good one.
And have you tried and tested it?
I have tried and tested it.
And it works?
I prefer avocado oil. But. Okay.
All right.
Yep.
How do you define success? What does that word mean to you, Jennie?
Well, I'm going to give you Yogananda's definition of success, which I've adopted because it makes the most sense to me. And he says that success is the ability to manifest whatever you need at the time that you need it. So that makes sense to me because, there's plenty of millionaires out there who still don't feel successful enough or secure enough. And, they can have all the money in the bank, but success really is that ability to just, step into or have or attract or whatever, what it is that you need in the moment. We don't need $1 million sitting in the bank.
No.
That's not helping me today. What's going to help me today is having $20 to buy my groceries.
Yeah.
And so same thing tomorrow.
Right. My grandfather always said to me growing up, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have your health, what good is that money?
Yeah, that's true.
So your health is, I think, one of, if not the most important thing, because you can have tens of millions of dollars, but if you're sick and not healthy, you can't use the money for good or enjoy the money or do the things you want to do with the money.
True.
So I always think about that when I think about him. If you could sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with any one person in the world, alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Well, you're going to get sick of hearing me talk about him, but I'd have to say Yogananda again, because he is a spiritual master and has brought so much understanding into my heart and my mind. And so to be able to sit at his feet and learn and absorb would be amazing. And I don't know that it would be much of a conversation. I think it would just be me listening, maybe asking a few pointed questions, but just receiving whatever wisdom he felt like imparting.
All right. Can you share a situation that's occurred in your life that you feel provides insight as to your character, who Jennie is?
Oh, insight into my character. Well, I think a lot of people, this was a time when many people misunderstood me. And also I think it points to my character was when I closed my studio in Massachusetts, my yoga studio, and I decided to move to Hawaii. This was 10 years ago. And, that was a really big change. I meant leaving a business that I had built for 10 years. It meant leaving a relationship that I had built for 8 years. Yeah. It meant leaving family and friends and community, and moving as far away within the United States as is possible with a kid who was young and a cat. And I sold everything, and I sold all my possessions except for 6 suitcases. I came out here with 6 suitcases, a kid and a cat, and started over because I needed to and wanted to. And I felt really called to that change. And so I think that speaks to my courage and my resilience and my ability to walk my talk in terms of sparking change.
Yeah. So how long have you been living in Hawaii now?
I've been here 10 years.
Why Hawaii?
It's warm, there's surf, and it was far away from the East Coast and the cold.
Okay, makes sense. What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before learning it? And what was your life like after learning it?
What? I was blessed. I love it. You're stumping me. I love this. Blessed to have grown up with a mom who told me from the time I was little that I was a child of God and that I had value and that all the beautiful soul qualities were within me, and I was loved, and that's amazing. And then you get to be an adult and you start to question that in a lot of ways because, the world is hard and you don't always get the validation from the outside. And I had a lot of difficult relationships and, false starts in careers. And so self-doubt creeps in. But I think, I don't know if I'm getting off track from the question, but one of the most important things I've learned is that we really are all here for a purpose. We are a spark of spirit. We are a unique soul being. And so maybe I learned it early and then I needed to relearn it as I started, learning from Yogananda's writings. And I think what my life is like now, after totally embodying that and just knowing it in every fiber of my being, is that I feel a lot more peaceful and a lot less self-doubting and a lot less needing of the external validations.
Awesome. What do you feel most grateful for in your life?
Being a mom. It was a surprise, my son, and I wasn't trying to get pregnant. Wasn't sure I wanted to be a mom, and he has been the greatest gift to experience motherhood. It has been amazing.
Yeah, children will do that. How would you like to be remembered?
I would like to be remembered as being a loving person, and that people would look to my life and say, yes, she really tried her best to love.
Beautiful. How would you describe yourself in one word?
Tenacious.
I love that word.
I'm like a mule that just keeps going and going and going until I'm
powering through.
Yeah.
What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Knowing your own inner worth and trusting that you have something unique to offer the world, and working from that point of inner strength.
Okay. If you had 24 hours left on Earth, what would you do?
Just hug my son and my husband.
Okay. What makes you smile?
Surfing.
What's the first thing you notice about a person?
Their eyes, and I compliment them. I love looking at people's eyes because they really are windows to the soul. And even with masks on now, well, particularly with masks on now, the eyes are really important. That's how we need to connect with one another. And so I make it an intentional point to look into the person's eyes who's in front of me. And I had an exchange with a guy who was ringing me up at a supermarket the other day, and he had the most beautiful, soulful eyes. And so I just told him that, and he lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah, that's a very beautiful thing. It's a nice thing to hear, but it's a nice thing to do for someone too. Again, it's something very simple like a smile, a compliment. You can make someone's day completely. Change their outlook for that day, change their mood, everything.
Yeah, and just make a simple connection.
Yeah, for sure. Money or fame?
Oh, money, please.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird. I am up at like 4. I'm up before the birds.
Oh, man. If you were guaranteed the correct answer to one question in life, what would you ask?
Will I reach enlightenment in this lifetime?
Perfect. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't fall in love with potential.
Okay.
Look at what's in front of you and be realistic.
I love it. Lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like?
Oh.
It doesn't have to be exactly 30 seconds, Jenny. It can be longer, it can be shorter. It's okay.
This is very reflective, actually, Brad, of a question that's in my book, Spark Change, which is, if you could change one thing about the world, what would you change? And, really what I want to always say is we are all of one maker, and the one consciousness, the one energy, we are all a part of that. So love one another, please.
Beautiful. Simple to the point. Jenny, thank you so much for being a guest here today and sharing a bit about your journey and your road to where you are today and the path you've walked, and just for agreeing to be part of this movement. I mean, I truly appreciate you. I appreciate every single moment I get to spend with each of you, but thank you for being here and sharing and providing insights as to your world and your experiences. It's been absolutely amazing speaking with you.
Oh, well, thank you, Brad. And thank you for offering some really amazing and heartfelt questions. It was a delight.
Well, I'm glad, to be able to evoke that kind of emotion in a person just through asking questions, that makes me feel pretty incredible. So thank you for taking part. Again, I mean, it goes back to that whole thing we spoke about earlier. Being able to do something like that for another person is just one of the most incredible feelings. So thank you. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography Podcast. My guest today has been Jennie Lee. She is an award-winning author and yoga therapist based in Hawaii. Thanks, Jennie. I hope you enjoy and have an amazing day today.
Thanks, Brad. You too.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.